Now imagine waking up and not remembering large parts of your life. Well, Sarah Brooker had to rebuild her life from scratch after a car accident, even having to relearn how to speak, eat and walk.
She's now written about her remarkable story in a new book, and she joined us on the couch a little bit earlier to tell us about her journey.
I'd just finished a degree in neuroscience, of all things, and on New Year's Eve I had a stroke as I was driving my car. That New Year's Eve all the roads were really oily, and it's probably not a good idea to have a stroke while you're driving at the same time. I sort of passed out and the car skidded and ended up around the telephone pole.
With stroke comes consequences. You couldn't recall your sister, but yes. Which is bad enough. I'll get you to talk through that. But also, you did recall something surprisingly important to you.
Yes. So I woke up and I understood the brain and I didn't know anything else. So because I'd been so passionate about neuroscience beforehand, I woke up and I understood what a stroke meant and what it meant to have lost a certain region of the brain. But I thought that meant I was a guru, and it wasn't that I was just a patient in a hospital.
No recollection of family members?
No, I didn't remember Abby. I didn't remember... Oh, that's Harvey. Hadn't met
Not
Harvey
even
at
Harvey?
that stage, no.
Oh, Harvey's new to the scene, okay.
Yeah, he is new. But I didn't know any of these people.
Take us through the rehabilitation process. How challenging was that?
Rehab is amazing because every single day I was learning something new. Yes, it's painful, but I don't have the memories of it being painful. I remember learning to sit up for the first time, or learning to put my legs over the edge of the bed for the first time. That was so exciting. Learning to walk for the first time, talking. It was really sad learning to cook. Was terrible, which...
Why?
Because I was such a good liar that I think they thought I was more capable than I was. And they took me to a kitchen and said, here you go, make breakfast. And I didn't know what a toaster was, and I didn't know how to make toast. And I ended up sitting there with this plate of dry, burnt toast and coffee that wasn't coffee, and sort of just too proud to admit that I'd failed, going, this is how I have it.
So you really have almost no memories of your life prior to your accident?
No. I remember all the facts, but I don't remember the stories. So I know what school I went to high school at, but couldn't tell you what it looked like. Right,
and you also write how the post-stroke Sarah is a much nicer person than the pre-stroke Sarah. Explain
much nicer
that.
Now.
Why?
So beforehand, unless you were a brain I could dissect or a professor offering me a job in your laboratory, I didn't know why you were talking to me.
Right.
But then suddenly I woke up and people existed, and apart from asking me about the brain, because I was so smart, they have all these really interesting stories, and I like to learn them, and I like to talk to people now. And I went back and I did my PhD, and I studied the brain for another 7 years, and I was still really lonely. And through that, the one thing that sort of kept me sane was doing the little teaching jobs that I had to get a bit of extra money. And I realised that's probably where I should be. So I went back to uni again, and I did another degree when I became a teacher, and that's what I do now. And I work in disability units in South Australia and love it. It's the best job in the world.
She was such a delight to speak to. Sarah Brooker is the author, and her book is called My Lucky Stroke. It's out now. On the front, you can see there, Michael, the little golf ball, and it says under there, in case you can't read it, it says, there is a hole in my brain the size of a golf ball, and there actually is. So she still lives with this acquired brain injury, but as you can see, she's achieved so much in her life, and the stories in it are just extraordinary.
Yeah, she is truly amazing.